Welcome back to the Hollow Sky Podcast, Listener Experience. We are your hosts. I'm Steven.
And Kyle.
It's Thursday, Hollow Cult. You know what that means. Listener Experience Day. And we've almost got this work week choke slammed into submission. So we are here for it to help. Just tag us in. We'll get you through that last little bit. You know how it works.
It'll be pure carnage.
Pure carnage. Got another listener submission for you today. Another lucid dream. If you didn't go back and listen to last week with Raymond's encounter, definitely do. It's a doozy. Got me and Kyle thinking about life as a whole. Just yeah. It was interesting. Hope you all enjoyed the Hopkinsville. I say it wrong every goddamn time.
It's all right.
Hopkinsville Goblins episode that dropped earlier this week. It was a good time recording. Me and Kyle kicking it.
Lots of old school Hollow Sky banter right there.
Yes, it was.
It was fun.
Before we jump into this new lucid dream encounter, we got to get through the business. So check us out at all our social medias: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Discord, Reddit. Search up the Hollow Sky Podcast. Be part of the community and join the Hollow Cult. If you have a listener encounter you'd like for us to feature on a future episode of this very show you're listening to, Kyle has some details you're going to want.
I do. You're gonna want to write your story out in as much detail as possible. Shoot it over to the email, which is going to be hollowskypodcast@gmail.com. You can call or text the holophone, which is going to be 618-556-0837. And remember, I'm looking for your paranormal pictures and videos because I got a project I'm working on, and try to include date, time, location, as much information as you're comfortable sharing. You don't have to, but it would be nice just in case I go down a certain avenue. It'd be greatly appreciated.
Kyle's got something cooking.
I do. I'm going to try to do some stuff.
Hell yeah. I got some stuff saved in my phone that we've been sent. Some Bigfoot tracks and
I'd like to dig up a couple of the egress texts, get a couple of those pictures.
I think I saw them.
Forgot what I was going to say again because I'm not smart.
I feel that
my brain goes up and down and up and down, and
it's full of sawdust.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely full of sawdust, which sucks. But what are you going to do?
Mine's full of coke dust.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Oh, goodness. All right. We're going to jump. This one's a longer one. We're going to jump right into it. Again.
Oh, wait a second.
Hold up.
Quick. Remember what I was going to say. I am going to slowly, because I only have the limited amounts of time, but for everybody liking to gripe here and there, I'm going to tell you what's going on. I am slowly turning these listener experience ones into videos for YouTube. So if you would like to watch the video, you're more than welcome to do that. If not, you can just listen to the regular show, because we do have an RSS feed on YouTube, which will be one's just audio and one of them is going to be a video of this conversation. So you'll have the option for both. And currently I'm just doing it for the listener experience ones because they're short videos, they're 20, 25 minute videos, kind of easy to handle. So I'm just playing around trying to learn programs and so on and so forth.
But Kyle, why are you posting too?
I know. It's because I'm not smart.
Same. But we're going to jump right into it. This week's listener encounter comes to us from our friend Jeff. It is titled Jeff's Lucid Dream. Or was it? Jeff says, "Hi, Stephen and Kyle. I started listening to your show and have quickly became a rabid fan. I love your format and, of course, love the content. Keep it going. I was recently listening to your podcast and there was a submission from a listener regarding a lucid dream. It reminded me of a dream I've never forgotten and wanted to share with you. Before we begin, know that this dream still haunts me, and in a weird way, I treasure the memory of it. That's how real it was. Here it goes. I hope you enjoy. My memory of the dream starts with me, a younger man, me but also not me, walking in this throng of people, or of hundreds of other people. We're in this wide path in the forest, in the middle of nowhere, it seemed, just on this march together. The path was really wide, like hundreds of feet, but was clearly some sort of lane, if that makes sense. The grass was wet, and I felt like it was soaking my ankles and my pants legs. It was so cold, which I remember scared me, and the forest on either side of the lane was extremely dense and dark. The path was straight and looked like it went on for miles and miles. My good friends, not in this reality, but in the reality of my dream, were with me, along with my little brother, also not my brother in this life, but my dream life. Based on the ages of my friends and my brother, I guess we were about 17 years old. I also knew why we were on this march, and it was as follows. Something had happened on this earth, and it was about to get very cold, way too cold to survive outside. I was with my friends, I think there were 5 of us, because something had happened to our parents. They were all deceased. My little brother was very sick, and I had promised my parents that I would get him to where we were going. Where we were going was somewhere these mysterious but kind beings were leading everyone to. Only they weren't really leading. They stayed in the dark forest on either side, spoke to us in our thoughts, telling us we must keep going, that there wasn't much time. I never saw anything but their shadows in the trees walking along with us. And so the long march commenced. We were allowed to rest periodically, but I recall walking in clear moonlit nights. If we were hungry or thirsty, all we had to do was make our way to the tree line, and these hands would emerge from the shadows, handing us food and water as we trudged forward. They were always very kind, but so careful not to be seen. Other than the growing cold, we felt safe. For days this went on, sleeping under the stars for short periods, walking whenever awake. And I remember there was this somber silence over the whole crowd. Not sadness, not fear, but some sort of resignation. During this, I had memories of my friends, and I joking around now and then, but not very gregoriously, for fear of insulting the others for some reason. My brother's health got progressively worse, but I'm not sure I completely understood what was wrong with him. He was just becoming more and more weak. As the walk went on, the crowd was growing exponentially, and there was a vision I had where we had crested a hill so you could have vantage of what lay in front and behind, and there were so many people. We wondered where they could be taking us and what would hold all of these people. It had started to snow as well. I remember being scared about that, but the snow itself was weird. I'm not sure why. We also began to encounter ice, but it was also weird in that it was forming over everything, not just pooled water, but also up the tree trunks, up rock walls. Anything that was sitting still, it seemed, to be completely covered with ice. The beings in the forest kept telling us to keep going as quickly as we could. This meant the time was getting short. Finally, we noticed that the crowd ahead of us was stopped. We had arrived. I could see far ahead that the crowd was slowly filing into the mouth of this enormous cavern in the side of a mountain. The thoughts in our head advised that we were in a process of entering as quickly as possible, but it would take time. Our instructions were to stay warm and to help each other stay alive. We decided to keep ourselves busy. I recall the feeling was like a music festival in between acts, talking, laughing a little, sitting together in the grass, trying to ignore the snowfall that began to pile up. It seemed like days went by, and my brother had decided to carve the names of our little group into what looked like large wooden timber signs you would see at a state or national park. Where we were led, some sort of park, question mark, which is now covered in this thick, strange ice. He was so sick by this point he could barely stand up, but he seemed so determined to get all of our names finished carved in the sign. I remember him finishing and being so happy, but he passed away that night. I remember talking with my friends how that was how he wanted to spend the little energy he had left. The sign itself was right in front of the entrance, and it was long before it was our turn to it wasn't long before it was our turn to enter the cavern. I don't remember much about my time in the cavern except these few things. We were safe now, but we were going to be in here for a while. The place was extremely vast. We were going to have to create a new society here for the interim. Each person slash family got their own little apartment in the rock wall to live out their lives. The life we lived turned out to be pretty good. It was warm, well lit, and it was obvious these beings worked very hard for a long time to build this place for us. What I remember most vividly was somehow my apartment was right by the main entrance. Similar to being in the emergency exit of a plane, I had to be trained to understand the exit itself. This was when the beings were the closest to me, as they explained what I needed to know. The entrance was basically a large round entry that was double walled like an airlock. As I watched the outer door slide shut and then the inner, we watched through the glass in the door as a pink fluid filled the entire space to the inside of the airlock. They explained to me that the fluid was a type of insulator to keep the cold outside at bay. They went on to explain that we will have no contact with the outside whatsoever. The only way we'll know it's safe to go out is when we see that this fluid is drained out of the airlock. The doors will open on their own. They then said goodbye, and that was the last we heard from the beings. Like a movie, the dream flashed forward to many years later. I felt I had lived a good life. I was happy and healthy, and we'd somehow made it work in there. I was speaking to a friend. I assume they were a friend, and we were laughing at something one of us had said. Just as in the huge corridor outside of my apartment, we heard this strange whooshing sound. We stood there speechless, with people gathering there to investigate the noise, as we watched the pink fluid in the airlock slowly go down, draining into some unseen place in the floor. It took several minutes to empty. I remember my heart beating out of my chest as the inner door began to open. Everyone was shoulder to shoulder, pressing behind me, totally silent. Then the outer door slid aside and the air rushed in. No one even moved at first. Then the crowds began to press us forward and out the door. The sun was bright, the sky was clear, and everywhere was the sound of running water, the sound of the ice melting and cracking apart. I turned, and just down the wide lane, I caught sight of the old sign. Still there somehow, even though the trees were gone. I ran toward the sign as fast as I could. I recall feeling like it was the first time I had even remembered my brother that was now long gone. I think I was middle aged now. I ran so fast, wanting to see the only thing that was left of him and of the long walk, his writing in the ice. I ran around the front, and there they were, all of our names now melting, running into the soggy ground. And that was when I cried. That was when I woke up. Believe it or not, that was my dream. Thanks for reading, Jeff. Jeff. Whew. That is intense.
One hell of a dream.
Yeah, that is intense, my friend.
So long. It sounds like a long dream.
Yeah, That's curious too, if you can remember how exactly long that it took you to experience it. But it's strange that it's almost as if you weren't you. Like you said, you were living some other self's life, some other being's life on a planet that is essentially dying, for lack of a better term. And you just kind of got thrown into the mix there, like your consciousness swapped places with something else's consciousness. Hell,
That would be insanely fucked.
yeah, they may be writing into a podcast on their planet and be like, yo, we got to send to this body this dude named Jeff. His
Yeah.
world did not freeze over and have pink goo.
It still sucks there, but
Yeah, for different reasons.
It wasn't freezing.
Yeah, it's like I state, I know I sound like a broken record, but I feel like consciousness, we have no idea what that word even means.
No.
Right? And when we get in these states, dreaming, hallucinogenic drugs, deep meditation, near death experiences, anything of that nature, I feel like it opens up doors that we know nothing about. And it could very easily fall into that where maybe you did step into someone else's life. Cold, scary life.
Even if you just took a ride, you could have been a passenger, so to speak, and just experienced it through said person.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like they're still driving, but you're there experiencing it.
just cruising. It's so weird because he even talked like he knew it wasn't him, but he was he knew the other people that he didn't know. Like he knew those were his friends. He knew that was his brother, but they were clearly people he had never met in his life in this life anyway.
Which, furthermore, who's ever had a dream like that where you're not you? I don't think I have.
I don't know. I always assume I'm me.
Yeah, well, yeah, naturally so. Yeah,
Cuz sometimes I do have dreams where I'm interacting with people that I don't know.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Which I mean essentially I could be somebody else cuz I'm interacting with people that I've never met before.
That's
I don't
true, but
know.
it's never I've never had that feeling.
Yeah, like feeling like this is my brother, you're going to know. Which is, I don't know, that's weird, man. It's strange.
It's super weird. I would like to know if anybody out there has had dreams where they knew that they weren't them, although it is them.
Them, but not them.
Yeah, because you have bare minimum, you have the memory of someone else. Not only a memory, but like a full experience memory.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, he lived an entire life.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It's
which
so
reminds me
strange.
slightly of like the lamp episode we had.
Yeah, or Flick when they wrote in, you
Yeah,
know, lived a whole extra so many decades with their son that had previously passed away. Shit is so wild to me.
I think there's something to it. I really do. I think there is a connection that can be made. Like you said, whether it's through psychotropics, sleep, meditation, all of it. I think like you said, there's doors. Almost like being in Alice in Wonderland or something. Seeing all these doors, and I think every once in a while you just crack them open and
Whatever happens,
experience shit.
happens. Yeah. It makes me wonder if like different types of consciousness manipulation open different doors. If like meditation sends you down this route, psychotropics send you down this route, lucid dreaming practices send you down this route, near death experience send you down this route, coma unconsciousness send you down this route. Because like you hear people who touch on DMT and stuff seeing essentially the same beings over and over again.
Yeah.
Like that shit is weird.
I think it's a fair question to ask. I've never thought of it like that. If each one is a different key.
Because here, a lot of time when you hear like a lot of lucid dreams, when they encounter other entities, they are helpful, they are benevolent. Like these were clearly keeping people alive, not only on the long walk, but they were also keeping them alive in whatever this like homeostasis is in the side of this mountain they built.
It's a little creepy though that they hid in the woods the whole time.
Yeah, and I mean, it almost leads credence to the fact that like our brains aren't ready to handle whatever these things are.
That's what I was thinking. There's only one like if it was all 100% good being, there's only one reason why they'd hide in the woods, and that's so you couldn't see them for a
Yeah.
reason because it would break your fucking brain.
How like the imagery that he put out where it was just hands coming out of this dense dark forest is creepy.
Yeah.
It is creepy. Send your brain down like missing 411 vibes where people just go into the forest and disappear.
Yeah, and the way like they use telepathy to communicate and
Yeah, it's I mean,
like, and they were hurting like they were encouraging hurting everyone to this area, and just like because that could have been a bad situation in itself.
yeah, everybody go in this cave and we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
That's weird, man.
it is super weird. And I don't know. Like I've never had a dream that like lengthy
No.
because it'd be a really I feel like it would be a really stressful dream. Like one where
Oh
you
yeah.
wake up and you're like, what the fuck? I am not trying to live this life. Because think about it, you're essentially surviving the apocalypse.
Yeah, and you're on like a time you're racing death,
Yeah.
essentially, because it's getting colder, the weird snow's falling, the weird ice is closing in. You finally
Yep.
get there, and there's so many people waiting to get through, and you still have to wait. Like safety is right there, and you still have to wait. You still have to wait.
Yep. And on top of all that, you lose your brother.
Yeah, which is rough.
Yeah, which
That's
would
another.
not be great at all.
And it's almost like once he got in there, they completely regressed that memory, because he
I was
said he
gonna
didn't
say
even
that
think
too.
about him.
Yeah, like who forgets that shit?
Maybe they wouldn't. Maybe they had to do that. Had to erase the life that was outside of that door to keep people not interested in the door, or to help them like hyper focus on surviving.
Yeah,
Because you have to in that scenario, you have to completely change how you've done
that's
everything.
true. That's true because if that scenario actually plays out, you have to keep people from becoming overly emotional
Yeah,
because they become well, you can think overly emotional and then claustrophobic because there's going to be nut jobs they get claustrophobic and they're going to try breaking out.
yeah. Because you have hundreds of thousands of people, which it sounds like there were at least thousands and thousands of people going in there. Because he said once you hit the precipice of that hill, you look down and it's just a sea of people.
Bodies, yeah,
It's almost like a weird twist on Noah's Ark.
yeah, oh yeah, I
Like
could
it
definitely see
like
that.
the Ark of
Uh,
humanity.
yeah, and instead of a flood, you have ice. Same concept, both water based,
Yeah. It's
and then
weird.
the ark itself. It is a bizarre twist on the Great Flood.
Strange, strange dream, my friend.
It is super strange. I don't envy you for that one.
And I mean, on the flip side of that, it also kind of fell in with the end of days dreams that everybody was having. I don't know
Yeah,
when this was sent into us, but uh apparently, I mean, it could have been a long time ago. Submission with a lucid dream. I'm trying to remember our lucid dream encounters. We get a few of them, but
because a lot of them are apocalyptic style dreams.
yeah, that's weird.
Because that was the first thing I thought of too. Was all of the apocalyptic dreams that we had there for a hot minute.
Yeah, right when COVID was cooling off. Oh god,
Yeah,
I can't say that. Right when CVID was cooling off, they were packing in. People dreaming of wars and attacks and all kinds of shit.
thankfully, fingers crossed. Or yeah, thankfully, none of it played out, which is great.
Hopefully, we keep it that way.
Yeah, I know we got some bad stuff knocking at the door, but fingers crossed.
It'll be fine.
Yeah,
We'll see.
not much we can do about it one way or the other.
Oh. Yeah, if anybody, like Kyle said, if anybody's had a dream similar to this, where as you are dreaming, you are not yourself. You are not with people you know, but the body that you have taken over knows who you're with. If that makes
It's
sense.
just an uncomfortable concept
Yeah.
all the way around.
Yeah.
Unfucking comfortable. I don't like it.
Strange. It is strange. Well, we hope it never pans out that way, Jeff, because that sounds cold and miserable.
Yes. We do not like the cold around these parts.
No. No, no, no. Again, thank you so much for taking the time to write in and share this experience, lucid dream, with us. Oh, it's bizarre, man. I don't know. The consciousness the human brain as a whole is a weird construct. Weird amalgamation of nerves and electricity and shit that shouldn't work together in the first place, probably.
Understatement.
But we appreciate you and your brain functions. So, Holocult, thanks for hanging out with us this Thursday. Hope your weekend goes wonderful. And, yeah, just keep sending these in. We're here for them. So until we meet again, stay safe, stay weird. And if you have a lucid dream where you're not yourself, but you know you're yourself and you know who you're with, but they're not familiar to you, send it in to us.